Welcome back to the Do Cool Shit podcast. I'm your host, Meryl, and I am so excited. I have my very first guest on, and this was so appropriate because if you remember back to episode one, technically, the introduction where I kind of said where I got Do Cool Shit from, this is the badass who helped me come up with it. You remember that, Lauren?
I didn't help you come up with it. I just asked you a question. You had kept saying it over and over again, actually. And then we bottom lined it, and that was your bottom line.
There we go. So I know I knew you were gonna say something like that. So this is my amazing friend. We have been through like so much stuff, which I'm sure we'll get into. Together, we've known each other since we were like 19?
I was thinking about this the other day. We have known each other for over half of our lives. We're that old.
Ooh, man, hard exhale on that. God. So, Lauren Burke is her name, and I know that this conversation is just going to be filled with beautiful, sparkly gems and amazingness. So I'm excited to get into it. And I was like, how am I even going to start this episode? Because the general question of like, tell us about you is so broad. So I still don't have an answer how I'm going to start that. But Lauren, let's just, what does doing cool shit mean to you?
Right now, specifically, means being in community in like all different ways. As a facilitator and a leader, as a like follower and member, just community is where I find that I feel like I'm doing the coolest shit.
I love that. That's something that I see continually come up in the things that you do and what you're up to and where you really get like lit up whenever I talk to you about it.
Yeah,
So what's
I
some of
love
the stuff
people.
that, yeah, you love
I
people.
always say, like, why do people read sci-fi? Have you met a human being? Wild.
Wild. Also, sci-fi, murder mysteries, all of that kind of stuff, psychological thrillers. I'm like, someone came up with this.
Came from somewhere.
Yeah, or somewhere, which blows my
Maybe not
mind.
here.
Maybe not.
Yeah, that's my favorite thing to think about when I'm stoned watching a movie is like, oh. Or I think about like the acting of it, like the actual creation, like how the actors must have felt having to create the scene. Every time.
Oh,
Every
we
time.
gotta do that sometime, Lauren, because I
We used to do that and watch Rent when we were in college.
this is true. I know it'll come first full circle. Josh gets, I think, annoyed at me because he can't participate because he's in the military, and he just gets to listen to my weird, outlandish thoughts. So, I'm like, you're welcome.
I feel like I think you have those not stoned, Meryl, by knowing you.
Fair.
I know I do.
Fair. Fair. So, Lauren, you have taught me so much, and I'm like, how do we get all of this in? But I think one of the things I want to start out in is people learning a little bit more about you and what your core values are, like what motivates you and drives you to show up in the world and do the cool shit that you are doing. Because I know it's not
Yeah.
easy.
Um, my core values right now. So I have a coach who taught core values in the way of two, and you think about that you walk with them. So they like kind of balance each other out. And right now, my core values, like one that's like showing up and like all over the place is generosity. Generosity of spirit, generosity of like perception, generosity financially, time. Like there's so many different ways to be generous. And that always feels super good to me. And it's really been one that's on one of my shoes that I'm walking with. And then integrity is kind of always on the other shoe, because, and I think a lot of it has to do with, I love astrology. I'm an Aquarius sun and an Aquarius moon. I have 5 signs in Aquarius, which if you talk to my astrologist, she's like, that's so much. That's so much. And so Aquarius is an air sign, even though they're water bearers. It's why they're extra weird. And so like I spend a lot of time out, I don't know where I go, you know, like somewhere, not somewhere else, but like very deep in thought, super weird. And so integrity is a really rooting value for me. It's a challenging one for me to come back to, because sometimes I rebel against it, my Aquarius nature as well. And it's the thing that keeps me rooted so that I can be generous in a way that's aligned.
That's interesting. That integrity is something that is almost you rebel against.
Yeah, sometimes it feels boring.
I get that. I get that. I'd actually been having thoughts lately where I'm like, I wonder what it would be like to not know all the things I know. Just be an ignorant bliss. I know, like, in grand scheme, it's not something that would feel good later, but just like, I wonder what that would feel like.
I feel like I know what that would feel like because I've done it. I suffered through it for quite a few years.
I mean, yes, yes.
For me, I just have to remember what it felt like.
That is exactly what I said. I was like, no, you know what that felt like, and it didn't actually feel great. So
that's how we ended up here.
Okay.
God damn it.
Fair point. You said something about generosity. Can you talk more about what generosity kind of means to you, like in an outside the box type of way? Because I know that's how you think.
Yeah, it's love. How loving can I be, both to myself but to other people? So when somebody cuts me off, can I be super generous? Somebody says something that I kind of think is a little rude to me. Can I be generous? One of my core beliefs is that everybody is doing the best they can. And generosity is remembering that regardless. And then beyond that, like giving of myself in a way that feels aligned, not people pleasing, not selflessness. You cuss, I've heard you do it. Fuck selflessness. And let's stop fucking giving women badges of honors for it, because it just means that they're not loving themselves. That's all. And so loving myself oftentimes looks like generosity toward others.
I love that way.
Because it feels good.
I really love that way of thinking of it. You said, so generosity is love. And that's something I've heard you say a lot of times. And I was like, I'm hoping that we could talk about this tool, because this is something that was a game changer for me. And I know it's one of your favorite things to talk about, and it's the line of choice.
I thought that's what you're going to say.
This was something that, for me, made me realize how much I was living in a reactive place.
Yeah.
And that was something that when I was in it, it's so chaotic and it's a clusterfuck, right? Like, and everything else feels shitty. It's not a great place to be living in. And so I'm going to let you talk about it, because going into love is something that I often do in here so I can be more responsive.
Yeah, I love it. So I'm going to talk about it, and I'm also going to expand upon it, if that's okay with you. So the line of choice is from a methodology called Light Year Leadership, founded and run by Suzanne Conrad. And so the line of choice is simply that. It's a line. So think about a piece of paper and a line going horizontally. And above the line is response, and below the line is reaction. So above the line are things like love, forgiveness, discernment, joy, faith. Below the line in reaction are things like unforgiveness, judgment, fear, worry, and doubt are like the 5 main main ones, right? And so when we're in reaction and staying below the line of choice, it creates like a really rough it's a frequency of suffering is truly what it is. It's not good and bad. Like above the line is not good and below the line is bad. It's all human. And so my belief is we're going to be born into these bodies until we are figure out a way to be 100% above the line of choice, and then we will no longer exist in these bodies. And so if you're in a body, my guess is you're going to be below the line sometimes. The work is in stepping back into choice, noticing where you are, what frequency you're in, and choosing something that is up leveled. And so the growth on this one, or the I don't even remember the word I said, but the other kind of like tool to add to the line of choice is the ladder. So if I'm in fear, fear is like a very, very low frequency. Fear is close to death, like death of the soul, you know? Love is the highest frequency. So to go from one of the lowest frequencies to one of the highest frequencies in one choice, I can't do it. I need a couple steps in between. And so that's what the ladder is. It's building your way toward a frequency that's higher. So maybe the next step from fear would be anger. And then maybe the next step up from anger would be doubt. And then maybe the next step up from doubt, now we're getting a little bit more above the line, would be curiosity. And then discernment. And right, like, so instead of trying to leap from fear to love, it's giving ourselves tools. Like if you hadn't been into the gym in 3 years, you wouldn't start it when you're 1 rep max from 3 years ago. That would be fucking crazy. You would hurt yourself. And so we don't want to do that here either. It doesn't make sense.
I like that a lot too. And it makes it so much more approachable for people, because you're right. Especially if you haven't been doing this for a really long time. I will also say that even when you have been doing this a long time, it's really hard to make that leap. You're still kind of stair stepping.
Yeah, of course you are, because that's the way to get anywhere. No journey is traveled in one step. What is that saying? There's like 100-mile journey doesn't happen in a step or something like that. I don't know, but it's like that.
It's one step at a time, right? Something like that. Yeah.
Same for frequency. Yeah.
Yeah, I like that. And I really like how you said, like if you're in a body, essentially you're a human being, you're a living, breathing human being. And what humans do is experience a huge range spectrum of, emotion and feelings.
Yeah.
And that's not bad. It means that you're alive.
Yeah. And I don't know about you, but in the circles that I am in, like the coaching circles, oftentimes, and yoga, like oftentimes I will see things that are like, oh, I felt so angry. Like that shows that I'm just not spiritually evolved. And it's like, no, that shows you're a human. Do you still have work to do? Sure. Because we all do if we're in these bodies, but like, that doesn't mean that you haven't been doing the work. How quick did you choose something after that? Right. And that's all we're working on is you're going to go into reaction. It's just going to happen.
Yeah.
How quickly can you notice it? Can you be aware of it? Can you name it? Because it's only when we can name it that we put ourselves into a place of choice. And then you can choose something else.
Yes. And that's wild to me to even think that people have this belief that they shouldn't feel certain things, or that means something. And I have a belief that you get to decide what things mean to you. And what I have personally worked on and what I work on with my clients is kind of like detaching yourself from that. Like it's there, and it's valid. Like any feeling that pops up is valid. And you also have the choice of what you do with it, like how do you let it affect what happens next?
That's funny. You know what I teach my clients? What would happen if you sat with it?
Yeah.
What would happen if you felt it?
Yeah.
What would happen if you asked it? I just did a training over the weekend for integrated somatic parts therapy, which is like IFS, internal family systems. It's a therapeutic tool. And the whole thing is like, oh, what if I like held it in my hand and asked it a question? And their core belief, which I love, is that everything that comes up within you has a positive intent,
Mm-hmm.
meaning it's trying to protect you. And then you can just kind of like ask it like, oh, what it's protecting a younger version of yourself, which is just so incredibly sweet, you
Yeah.
know?
Yeah. And that makes it, I don't know what the right word is, like less daunting. And it is, I think, an understanding in that, again, all of these things come up for a reason. They're all valid. They stem from somewhere. Very often, we have no idea where they come from, like on a surface level. And so
Hmm.
understanding that these things are there for a reason and it really does all stem from like safety and protection. It just not may
Yeah.
not be the right thing that is going to propel you forward in that circumstance in life.
Yeah. And like the non-attachment thing that you're asking them to do the same thing that I just said, which is like kind of take it outside of yourself.
Yes.
Like give yourself more space between you and that feeling so that you can see it from a they it's like when we have feelings it's like this, like it's so hard to see anything else. And then when we can move it outside of ourselves, when we can detach from it in a way, we can be like, oh, my hand's not in the thing. Like,
Yeah.
oh.
Yeah, Lauren, so like your feeling is straight up in your face. Or a lot of people identify it as that feeling, which makes it really
Hmm.
hard to explore it and get curious. So yes, exactly what I'm saying is like detach so then you can look at it from like with perspective and
Yeah. And
curiosity.
language around it is so
Absolutely.
important. Like, I have a friend who she starts by saying, I'm feeling this. I'm feeling angry. I'm feeling doubtful. I'm feeling fearful. And then she adds an extra space between it, which is, I'm noticing that I'm feeling this. So all she's doing is using language to give herself space between the feeling and herself so that she can better understand it. To oftentimes it just needs something. Oh, I
Yeah.
just need a hug. I just need to remind myself that like I'm doing the best I can. I just need to say it's okay if I fail at this next rep and I know that I'm still doing my best. It's a little version, it's a child version of yourself that needs something.
Uh-huh. Yeah. I love that. I'm noticing that I'm feeling.
Yeah.
Can you give an
I thought that was cool
example
too.
from your life that you have used this tool and maybe have been like very, maybe early on examples that have been very pivotal for you?
Yeah. I mean, I know they're there. Let me think about it. It happens a lot to me when I'm doing like ticketed, facilitated in-person stuff. So I'll notice that I'll feel anxious about the number of tickets or the number of people who are going to be there or the number of people signed up. I'll notice that I'm like feeling anxious about that or that I'm feeling doubtful or worried or judgmental, both of myself and the people who haven't signed up, which is interesting.
Mm.
Like, come on.
Yeah, I get that.
and then and then I can say like, okay, I'm noticing that feeling. Those feelings are kind of all show up together. Let me take them out. Oh, I'm scared I'm going to look stupid. That little girl version of me is scared she's going to look stupid. That's I understand that feeling. And then I just kind of inside of myself turn to her and say, "Hey bud, I know that this is scary and this takes a lot of courage. We have to be vulnerable to like expand. And I know how smart and strong you are and I know that you can deal with it."
Mm.
And then I keep going. And
I
she's like,
love that.
"Okay."
Hey, bud. I love that.
I mean, she's just like a little girl. She's me as a little girl, right? There's some part of me, some age where I learned that if like people don't show up or something that's embarrassing.
Hmm.
I can't deep dive every single one of those things.
Yeah.
But I can tell her when I notice that feeling coming up, I can ask her, what do you need? You just need affirmation that you're going to be loved no matter what. Cool. I can give that to you easily because I love you.
Hmm.
Period. End of story.
Hmm.
Let's do this thing, you know?
Yeah, a little self-talk goes a long way.
And what's so interesting, it's like self-talk, but not because it's like talking to not me now. Because me now, with all of the tools that I have, I don't feel that way. It's not me now that feels that way. It's her then that feels that way.
Mhm. That's such a good reminder too. And I think that that is something that I want to emphasize because not a lot of people can differentiate.
Yeah.
I want to rephrase that. It's not that people can't do it. It's that they don't have that knowledge base yet. And now they will. So,
Yes. And, or they, like, to me, for everything, anything I've ever taught, any tool, and I'm a yoga teacher, any yoga pose, anything I've ever taught, awareness, volleyball. I've coached volleyball for 20 years, right? Awareness is step number one. So, like, there's this story about my best friend James is a personal trainer, and years ago he taught me correct form of things, and he wouldn't let me use weight for like 6 months. I know we've talked about this, Meryl, and I'm gonna tell it again. And we were doing deadlifts, and I kept dropping my butt too low, and I could not. And he kept being like, "Laura, you're dropping your butt again." I like couldn't feel it. I couldn't be aware of it. And what a good friend. I said, "Can you?" I'm a kinesthetic learner, kinesthetic and visual, but kinesthetic a lot. I said, "Can you just come put your hands on my butt cheeks?" And so, in order to support me in becoming aware of where my butt was, he held on to my butt.
you're welcome, James.
But it's like that. Like, I couldn't fix what I didn't know, what I couldn't feel. And then and so he helped me be able to feel it. And then I could say, oh, I could put language to it. Oh, I noticed it drop right there. Okay. So now when I go, I'm going to keep it a little bit higher. Got it. Same with everything else.
Yeah, that's a great example.
I love, like, I'm always like awareness because, so I also got my hypnotherapy certification, and like our subconscious is fucking nuts, dude. Again, no need for sci-fi, but like, so our subconscious, I've listened to a psychiatrist talk about this, where we're like, we think we have free will. Nah, baby. Our subconscious runs that show. All of, like, the habitualness, like our lives is run by our subconscious, which is like where fear comes up and stuff like that. It's when we name it, when we put language to it, that we bring it cognitively forward. And that is where we get to have choice. But it takes awareness, language, choice.
Yeah. That I did a hypnotherapy session with a friend of mine when we lived in Hungary. And I was very skeptical of it going into it. And because all I knew of hypnotherapy was like the big stage people who like make you bark like a dog. But I had entered into the self exploration journey. I was like, yeah, heck, why not? And what I had to tell myself during it was just go where your mind brings you to, don't fight it. And whoa, like some very interesting things came out that I had no idea.
Like
There.
what? Will you share
Oh,
that?
I know, I'll tell you. I had one thing pop up that was like about this girl that I was friends with when I was in elementary school. And how she always wanted me to ask the boy out on a date that she liked for her, or, do all these things for her. And I just felt I was like, oh, this is where there's like resent built and like this people pleasing and like, and then there was a part that came up with when my mom had breast cancer when I was like young, like 11, 12, 13-ish age range. I don't exactly remember the ages. And to be honest, as an adult, I don't remember a whole lot from that period of time. So
That makes sense.
right? And there was all of these feelings that came up that was like I was scared and I didn't know what to do, and it was like all of these things that I was like, oh, that's why I behaved the way I did, and can relate it to things that I did kind of in the present in my life.
Yeah.
So
Isn't that so cool?
it's those one of those mind-blowing moments.
Have you ever done EMDR?
I have not personally, no.
Okay. It's so similar to hypnotherapy in that it's just like refiling like it's more cognitive, like you kind of go through memories, but it's kind of like that. And it's, my therapist said, like, our brains when we're little it's processing so much that like sometimes it just files things in a weird way and you don't know it, and it could be like the smallest thing, like lowercase t traumas that get filed into this like very important file folder, and you're like, what? No, I mean, like, it makes sense with your mom's breast cancer and like going through that at that age, but like the friend, right? Like, that has a subconscious effect on my life that's fucking nuts.
Right.
And like, yeah, it's because your brain, your sweet baby Meryl brain was like processing all this stuff and trying to get it, right? And it just filed that one and like, oh shit, we got to do this or we're bad or something like that, right?
Right. Right. Yeah. And it's like, oh, wow. Wow. Yep. Do you have
It's so
any,
cool.
do you have anything like that that you would want to share? Or even just like where you are right now is very evolved. And the way that you're speaking is like, that, I know, right? You're pretty cool.
Thank you.
Because I've known you for so long. We've gone through, I don't know, what would you say? Like, how do you call it? Like different versions of yourself or different.
Tara and I say we've lived through a lot of, my best friend Tara and I, we've been best friends since we were 14, say we've lived a lot of life together.
Uh-huh.
Because like, we've been through many versions of, I mean, we had Zoom coffee the other day, and this was like like what I posted on Instagram when I was like going out and getting drunk. Do you remember like 40s and something, and we like drank 40-ounce malt beverages every Monday night with the boys volleyball team, and on Wednesday nights after volleyball we went and got 75-cent drinks at Kavanaugh's. And now we were just talking, we were like, yeah, if somebody invites me out past 6 p.m. I am not going.
I will not be there.
That's a no for me, dog.
Yeah, which I think part of that is just like aging in general. However, not saying that aging is bad, by the way.
I love aging.
I honestly think I mean, I will say, like, I'm approaching 40 and it's a little jolting for me. However, when I dig into it, it's like, okay, but also you feel better at this age than you did 10 years ago. And that's pretty freaking cool.
Do you know my mantra for aging?
Tell me.
I usually say it to Keith. I'm getting better every year. I say that to my husband. I'm getting better every year. You're so lucky.
I love that.
I believe it too.
Yeah, it's not a lie at all. It's
Yeah.
not.
No,
Yeah.
I am.
So I'm trying to form this question where, like, again, but being 19, drinking 40s on Monday at 11 p.m. and, living in, like, you've said it before, very judgmental space and not as self-confident. And I mean, you were on a very different path then. Did you ever think that you would be where you are now when you were 19?
No, I thought I was Carrie Bradshaw. I thought I was going to live in New York City the rest of my life. I made it 9 months. And every time I go back to New York, every time I visit, I'm like, I cannot believe there is a version of me who wanted to live here. So smelly.
It's very well, if you talk about community and connection, like there's a lot of that in New York for sure. However, when you walk down the street, it's like that is not necessarily a thing.
It's just really gray. I live by the beach. I'm 15 minutes from the beach, and I have 3 weeks of winter. Like, I'm happy I'm here.
For sure. Yeah. So what were some like big like holy shit moments that kind of changed your path and got you into the place that you are now?
Coaching volleyball, starting to coach volleyball was a big one. I started coaching when I was 20. I was pretty much an asshole coach for the next 6-ish years. And then I read this book called 10-Minute Mental Toughness. I will always be a very, exuberant and expressive human being. And coaches would always say things like, it's all in your head, Burke. And I'd be like, Great, but you gave me no tools. You told me it's in my head. Thank you for pointing that out. What the fuck do I do with it? I didn't know to ask that then, but like, right, if my approach was off, a coach would say, "Hey, your footwork is wrong. Like, adjust it this way." But if my head's not in a space that like allows for good playing, there's nothing. Nobody told me anything. Yeah. And so I found this book while I was coaching 10-minute mental toughness, and that was like this. My astrologist said, where does it really start? Because it really started when I played volleyball. But like that was like truly like something flipped there. And then I was coaching volleyball and I blocked a ball and I came down and I had the worst sprain of my life, which I've had ankle sprains before. And I was like, fuck. And I honestly have some physical therapy places act like MLMs, if you ask me. And I got pissed about it.
Well, yeah. Yep.
I was like, what? You want me to pay what? Anyway. And so I was like, okay, there's got to be a different path. There's got to be a better path. And I don't even know where this came to my head. I must have seen it somewhere, but I was like, hot yoga. Hot yoga makes sense that would be helpful for an injury recovery. And so I found a yoga studio and I started going in Delaware. And then we had a friend in college, Nancy, and she started doing all this self-inquiry work and opened a yoga studio. And I was like, okay, I'll try that out. Nobody in my family had ever done like coaching, had like a coach or like group coaching. Nothing like that had ever occurred. And so I was like, I don't know, I'll see what happens. And then I was like, oh shit, that changed my life. Oh shit. Okay, now everything's different. And then I was like, okay, now I'm going to go do yoga teacher training with Nancy in Panama for 3 weeks. And I was like, holy shit, that changed and then it's just like things just snowball. It's not like one big step. It's just these like little like inner knowings to do it that have added up to get to be where I am now. And even like one of my favorite things to tell is like, I love working with people in their relationship to money because money causes a lot of suffering. And it's not money, it's your relationship to money that causes suffering. And you have the opportunity for as much spiritual growth as you are suffering. It's equal. So if you're suffering a lot, you have that much opportunity for spiritual growth. So anyway, when I moved home from New York City, I didn't have a job. It was 2009. Remember that year?
Whew.
Economic shit show. And I had graduated in design and merchandising. Fashion marketing. Who wants that? Anyway, so my mom was like, my mom had been a bookkeeper. She was like, I can teach you how to bookkeep. So I started bookkeeping. And as I was growing my coaching business, I kept thinking like, it's separate. Like, I'm just doing this to sustain. I'm just doing this to sustain. And the more and more I started talking to people, I was like, you're really suffering around this. That's what I do. I support people in not suffering. And it's happening around money. And then back to my birth chart, Chiron is in the second house. So the second house is money. Chiron is a centurion, which is half horse and half human. So he wasn't accepted by the horses and he wasn't accepted by the humans. He's like half and half. And that's exactly how I approach money, logistically and spiritually. And so like even that, where I thought this thing is just like I'm going to use it for now and then I'm going to shove it away, actually got integrated into what I do. I didn't even think that was going to happen. And it's one of my favorite things to work with people on now.
I love when you talk about astrology and stuff, which like to me, would you consider that like a little woo woo or no?
You know what I've started saying?
Kelly.
I started calling it traditional.
Okay.
Because let's think about it. This is the science, the astronomical whatever science that was used thousands of years ago. Long before anything else. Do I think other people consider it woo-woo? Yes, I do.
Yeah. I mean, and that is like, I would, if I'm going to simply categorize things, like I would categorize it under the woo-woo. However, I personally have very much gone into a place where I don't have to exactly understand how it works in order for me to be like, okay, cool. You know, like if that works, and there's definitely some woo-woo things that I'm into, and it's all good. I also really appreciate how you explain it in a way that does make more sense.
Astrology?
Yeah.
You should see so I work with, she's a wonderful astrologist. You can work with her online. Her website is thecatwilson.com. CAT. Her name's Kat. She's amazing.
Shout out, Kat.
Honestly, when I started, we were friends before I started working with her in this way. And I was going through a very dark time in my life. A bunch of people died and shit. And I was like looking for support in something. I was like, I know there's something else with it. And I was like, I don't even know if I believe in this. I don't know, but it interests me. So I'm going to try it out. I'm going to see what happens. And I was like, holy shit, that's cool. Opened up a whole other world.
Well, I also love that you said, I don't know if this is for me. I don't know. And so many people would be like, well, uncertainty, probably a bunch of other things there. So like, I'm just not going to try it. Where it's like, what could be possible when you just try something out? I mean, I had a client who I had been doing this breathwork class, and I loved it. It opened up a lot for me, and I had talked about it, and she was like, I'm gonna try it. I was like, great, awesome. And she went, and she's like, I don't think that was for me. I'm like, great, now you know. Like you gotta try the thing though to see if it's quote unquote for you or not.
Yeah, and that's discernment, right? Instead of being like, that was stupid, it didn't do anything for me. She was like, oh, that's just not for me. That's not correct for me.
Yeah, and
Good job.
I think that she actually kind of she didn't say it so lightheartedly to me at first. I think she was a little disappointed that it wasn't for her. And like that's okay too.
Yeah.
And that's how I voiced it to her. I was like, great, now you know more about yourself. Cool.
Period.
What are you gonna try next?
Yeah.
Because also that gives you like a lot more calm and peace of mind into, you know what, I can try new things, and it may not be what I want it to be, and it's not a big deal,
Yeah, and I wonder if expectation is causing, in AA they say expectation is the first step to resentment.
Mm-hmm.
Like, can you go in without expecting anything?
I think that's great. And I always will ask people what their expectations were when they're disappointed about something, because very likely, most of the time, if there's just not alignment with expectations, and we can, solve that fairly quickly. And I think the expectations are like such a hard thing for people to not have.
Yeah, I think it's like an ego thing that you're trying, not ego and like, oh, egotistical, but it's like inner wounded child is trying to figure out what's going to happen in order to feel safety.
Yeah, that makes sense.
And like, you don't need to.
Yeah.
Can you trust you'll be safe? You'll be okay.
Right. That's the big thing, right?
Yeah.
Like, hey, I'm going to be good. It's going to be okay.
Yeah. I wonder what the difference between like expectations and goals are frequency wise inside of people.
It's probably pretty like interwoven area. I would guess. I think the word goals like trips a lot of people up as well.
Yeah, I don't use that word anymore, but
I know. I was like, I feel like you've changed. So what are you? So you don't use the word goals anymore. What do you?
I use project. Like, and even like I've heard weightlifters talk about this where they don't put a rep set on it, and I think you do this too. It's like to failure. Times like 70-pound deadlifts to failure, or what? I mean, that's probably not what it is, but you know what I mean.
Yeah, we usually don't do deadlifts to failure, but yeah.
Okay.
Oh, no.
That's why I'm not doing what you're doing. That's why you're the pro and I am not.
Sun salutations to failure. No.
There is 108. But I mean, truly, that's what we do in yoga. I ask people every single physical, not every single, right? Like, because there's balance, but I ask people to go past their edge. And their edge changes every single day. So if my expectation is I can hold crow and go into low plank, and I don't do it because that day that is not actually correct for me, then I feel disappointed in myself. But why? It's because I had an expectation from 3 days ago when I did it, instead of like being present to what is now.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of both and in that to me,
Yeah.
you
I
know?
think that creates a lot more peace when you can look at, I'll call it experiences as like separate, and it's all part of this big whole experience of life. But looking at, yeah, like one day of yoga compared to another day of yoga, you're not comparing the two directly. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I think our brain might though, because our brain is like, oh, we know what this is. We've already done this. We can do this. Now I can't do this. What the fuck?
Hmm.
That means like sometimes to me, I think goal is a healthy word to use if you're using it for motivation.
Hmm.
I experience myself and other people that I work with using it as a measurement of worth.
Yes,
And then you just
absolutely.
change the language. That's all.
Goal, like, yeah, I mean, goal has been this word that I think has been conditioned into like everybody should have goals. And at least in a lot of people that I talk to, it's like if you don't have goals, then you're lazy. And it's like that's not true. And also a lot of goals that people have are like want to talk about expectations or realisticness around them and they're just like there's a lot of chaos because there's not alignment in
Yeah.
any of those things, you know, including like the effort that people either want to or are willing to or can put into getting to said goal. So that is definitely something that I like to work on with people is well, one, like how can we create alignment, but also like what's the process? What are your maybe mini goals along the way? I call them like mini goals because it makes it a little less scary.
What if they're like mini milestones?
Yeah, love that.
You'll love this. I was listening to this podcast. It was Armchair Expert. It was a happiness expert. And she talked about how, did you listen to this? I can't remember this gal's name.
Uh-uh.
She was saying how when people create a goal and envision themselves getting the goal, they are less likely to get there. People who create a goal and envision all of the problems that or all of the challenges that will occur and how they will overcome them are more likely to reach that goal than the people who like and I don't know about you, but I've always heard like envision yourself there, and it's like but what she was saying is that our brain gives us some of that the good, the good goods when we
Oh yeah.
envision ourselves being there because our brain thinks, our brain has a hard time deciphering between like and real, imagination and
Yes.
real. And so we're getting the feedback from our brain saying, "Oh yeah, yeah, we did it. Here's the good shit. Here you go, baby." And then you're like, "Oh, okay. Cool."
Yes, yes. Well, one, there's like a lot of overlap in saying to yourself, I could do that if I wanted to, and actually doing it.
Yeah.
Because then you're like, there's inevitable disappointment or confusion because you're like, well, why aren't I, having the things? But it's like
Yeah.
your brain thinks that you did it. And then the other thing is, yeah, and I see this in health and fitness so often, and you probably see it even with people with money too, is this outcome-based goal. And it's like all joy and happiness is banking on that outcome-based goal. And that is just a recipe for disaster. And instead of thinking about like that's my outcome-based goal, I try to reframe it into how can I become the person that achieves that and like keeps going? Like what else,
Yeah.
And that's where we're talking about happiness. That's something that I've reframed personally is like, well, like, how would you define happiness, Lauren?
Meryl, I have no fucking clue. I define I define it like the what's the highest court? What's that called? In DC and they only hear what's that called?
Oh, now you're going to test my government theory that I have no idea about. Supreme Court?
Thank you. I'll define it. I define it how the Supreme Court defines porn. Or like whatever. It's like it's hard to define, but you know it when you see it.
Uh,
It's hard to define, but you know it when you feel it.
how do they? I don't know. Okay. I mean,
It's
that's
not
definitely.
porn, it's something else. It's another word that's like kind of related to porn, but I can't remember what it is.
Oh, well, that works too.
Can I Google it on my phone?
Yeah, do
I'm gonna
it.
Google it.
I I kind of view happiness as like pursuit of something, like, which is like you're actively working towards something that's meaningful for you. And that doesn't
Mm-hmm.
mean that, there's sunshine and rainbows, and it actually part of that is failing, making mistakes, learning, like getting into the ooey gooeys and all of that stuff. And that has really helped me, and it's definitely helped some of my clients where they have a happier life because they're not viewing happiness as this one specific thing.
Okay, are you watching Love Island Beyond the Villa?
I'm probably one of the 5 people who are not watching that.
I don't think a ton of people are watching Beyond the Villa. Love
Oh,
Island
okay.
is over, but now this is from the previous season, and there's a young lady. Her name is Kaylor. She's from Pennsylvania, and she is getting all these brand deals, and she's well loved and all this stuff. And there was this like blow up between her and her boyfriend from Love Island at the reunion. He did fucked up shit, whatever. And so they see each other for the first time in like months, and he's like, "Are you happy?" And she said, "No. I think I was happier before all of this."
Mm-hmm.
And like, I think if you ask somebody down on the street, if you left Love Island and had all these sponsorships and all this money and all these followers and all this clout, would you be happier than you are now? And I think most people would say, absolutely. And
Right.
she was like, I'm grateful for all of it, but like, I think I was happier before.
Yeah. Yeah. Great example. And I see that all the time. I see that with people and their health and fitness goals. Like, oh, when I get abs and I'm the lowest weight that I ever, have been in all of these things, then I'll be happy. And it's like, I will tell you 100% of the time, those people are never happy at that point.
They're
If that
hungry.
was solely what they were going off of.
Right.
It's just
Yeah.
not. And then vice versa. It's like, if those things occur, like let's say that you get abs and that is a result of the other things that you're doing, where you are actively gaining confidence because you can, try things without being afraid and like trusting that you're going to be okay, you know, that is where people get happy. It's not because of the abs. And that's what people will say. It's like, yeah, these are a great result of it. Like that's a great bonus. However, that's not the thing that I highlight.
Yeah. Have you ever, where is this book? I just put it away. It's called Mind Magic by Dr. James something. I don't know. Is it James? I don't know. It's a really pretty cover of a book, but he talks about manifesting in a really similar way and how he manifested like $800 million. He was buying this like island in New Zealand, but all he was manifesting were things. And then the big bubble burst and he lost all his money. He went into debt actually. And he was like, looked around and was like, he had no relationship with his family. His wife had left him. His kids didn't talk to him. He had this giant fucking mansion that he needed to sell, but it was empty of any kind of like love. And he was like, yeah, I manifested all of that, but what I was looking for was so hollow that when I got it all the important stuff just went away.
Uh,
And I was like, oh, yes, that. Like what's
yeah.
inside of the goal? Like what's the heart of the goal? I think is a great. And you taught me like ask why 7 times. And I think
Yeah.
I've used that for myself. I've used that for other people. Like it's such a helpful tool to bottom line it and check it. Is this heart or is this hollow?
I like that too. Is this heart or is this hollow?
Yeah,
Yeah,
I'm
because
gonna write
that's
that
like
down. I've never said that before.
hearing it first on the Do Cool Shit podcast.
Trademarked. No, just kidding.
Trademark. You can use it to credit Lauren.
Uh,
Yeah, that's, so much is surface level in general. And again, like that's a theme that keeps reoccurring here today is that there's so much more deeper, deeper when you dive in.
yeah, and I think people. I mean, I don't know if it was your first or second episode where you were like, I don't do small talk. Like it's not going to happen. good luck. I'm not doing it. But it's like, yeah. And it also takes a certain level of self-confidence and self-trust and courage to be the leader in these conversations with people that you might not know, in a way that those conversations feel comfortable. And can you do it anyway? To figure out who you're like, I'm always like, let your freak flag fly so your freaks can find you, you know?
Yeah. Yeah. Don't that's the difference of belonging and fitting in. Like so many people, like there's a basic psychological need, and it's belonging, but it's also often confused in people's mind with fitting in. And they're very different approaches.
Okay. What are the different approaches?
So fitting in is essentially you're looking at the people around you and you're kind of like shape-shifting essentially into how can I fit in with this group? We see it with teenagers all the time, right? Like I did that too. I'm like, oh, those people are wearing the baggiest jeans in the entire world and shell toe Adidas sneakers. And in order for me to fit in, I must wear that, right? Um, but
I did it with the business
belonging.
casual outfits to frat parties.
Oh God. You know, I'm so glad that we only had digital cameras at that time, let me just say.
Give me a peplum and a sock bun and I'll call it a night.
Some thermal leggings and a jean skirt. Old Navy flip-flop.
Oh my God. I like literally have a picture of you in that in my head.
They were kid thermals too. Oh God. So
Okay, so fitting in, yeah.
fitting in. And then belonging is like you do you and you find the people that are like, hey, that's cool. And those are your people. That's how you
Yeah.
find your people that you belong with, the groups, whatever. And that's very different vibes.
Very different vibes. The good shit. That's the good shit. That's happiness.
Yeah, that is happiness.
I mean, we're born for human connection, and human connection not from a fitting in place, but from an authentically expressed place.
Yeah. So how can people do more of that, Lauren? How do you suggest? Because that's really hard for people. How can people start to explore authenticity?
Be born in Aquarius. No, I'm just kidding. It helps. I'm not gonna lie. It really helps. I think journaling. I say this all the time. Stream of consciousness journaling. There's something called the Artist's Way, where it's 3 pages a day, every morning, 3 pages. Is one of the best ways to get to know yourself. And I mean, it's low barrier to entry, inexpensive, incredibly impactful.
Completely agree. And I will say that there are some friction points there, and they are usually the friction points that you are like, they're the things that you're trying to get past from the journaling. Like I've heard people be like, well, I don't know what to write, or I don't want to look at what I write, or I'm afraid of what I am going to write. And it's like, this is an exercise for you to learn more about yourself and
Yeah.
get out things that are floating around inside of you that you may not know are there.
Yeah, write that.
Yeah,
The
there's
other
no
thing is like, yeah, and figuring out systems that work for you. Like what time of I learned that I journal in composition books, like the cheapy college ruled composition books. I have so many like pretty journals. I don't fucking use them because I was like so precious about them. And I learned that like, oh, I need a composition book. That's the most helpful way for me to like feel comfortable doing this in something that can create some discomfort, right? Like create safe spaces in places of expansion in order to give yourself like your spirit, your ego, that little girl part of you, something like restful for her or a little person. Yeah, I would say journaling's the best. Like get to know yourself. If you don't know who you are, then you don't know. If you don't know what you like, if you don't know who you are, if you don't know what's important to you, if you don't know your values, like how do you know what your authentic expression is? How do you know? And then the other thing I would say is like start getting physically connected to what you're feeling. So when I'm feeling fear, like literally, where is it in or around my body? Can I put my hand on it?
Yeah. That's big into to know like what things actually feel like. Like I have done this work with you and knowing now I know like what does stress feel like in my body? What does anxiousness feel like in my body where it's like, oh, my chest gets tight, my breathing gets heavy, I usually get very clumsy. It's like, oh, and then I can pause and explore that a little bit more,
Yeah.
journal about it, whatever it may
Yeah.
be.
Or talk about it. Like, I'll be real dead honest with you. Like, an hour ago, I texted my husband and I said, I have felt anxiety, and I can tell you, it's right here. I woke up at midnight, at 12:30, and I heard my dog pacing, and I heard my husband getting ready for bed, and I woke up and I felt it, and I was like, weird. What is that? This isn't something I normally feel. This is not. I'm normally okay. What is it? I couldn't quite figure it out. All right, that's okay. I'm just gonna let it be there. It'll be okay. It's been there most of the day. I texted him and I said, I have had this like anxiety in the center of my chest, and I can't really put language to what it is. And he was like, oh, that sucks. Like, you know, I was like, yeah. And so I finally did right before I got on this call, and I texted him because it's helpful for me to tell him. And I said, I know what it is. So I have a lot of things, a lot of projects going on right now. And I said, I feel like I'm letting somebody down in every part of my life. Everything I'm doing, I feel like I'm just falling a little bit short. And I don't like that.
Yeah.
And it's going to happen when I have this many things. It's like, oh, okay, that's so helpful for me to know, because now I can like really look at my planner and see what is required for me to be in integrity. My guess is in like 3 of the 6 places I already am, and there's nothing for me to do except for understand if there's guilt I'm feeling around something. Like my one dog keeps shitting in the house, and I think it's because of like separation anxiety. And I feel like a bad dog mom.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, okay, so that's causing me some of this anxiety. Can I just sit with that and say, okay, instead of being like, you're such a good dog mom, Lauren, don't say that. That's okay. But it's okay for me to feel this. It's okay. It's okay. Can I sit with it and like ask, what do you need? What do you need to know? What do you need to do? Because I could feel it first. And then I was like, okay, I feel it. What is it? Okay, it's definitely anxiety. Okie dokie. And then with that, there's systems with feelings, and then guilt, and then not enoughness, and then shame, and then embarrassed. Like it all comes up all together. And then I get to put language with it, and now I get to start moving through it instead of running away from it.
Yes. That's the big thing. That's the big thing. It's like you want that intuition, that like self-knowing, the autonomy, again, another basic psychological need, and competence, another one. It's like,
Oh, I love competence.
right?
Competence is my favorite.
But it starts with doing, like, it really does start with doing a lot of these simple, simple things.
Yeah. And I would say if somebody tells you they have the answers for you, run the fuck away. They don't. Nobody has your answers for you except for you.
Yeah, I completely agree. There's people who can support you in finding what those answers
Yes.
are for you. And if you're searching for someone else to give you the answers, you're not going to find them. And if someone says they do, then what Lauren said, run the fuck away.
They're going to say, we live in a postmodern capitalistic society. They're going to tell you, I have the answers. It's $15,000.
Yeah, they probably work for an MLM. So
Listen, I have like, there's so much in coaching that I'm like, that's an MLM.
oh yeah,
So much. I'm
so
like,
much.
yeah.
It's wild, especially.
I'm in
today.
that. I mean, to go back to your first episode, I was listening to it and thinking like, oh, I'm in the messy middle right now of figuring out what does coaching look like for me that's equitable and in alignment with my values, and like not hollow but heart centered, and then faith based around like the income that comes. Like what does that look like? Because it's not something that I've seen a ton of.
hmm Yeah, exactly. And that's going to take a lot of, like you said,
Experimenting.
messiness and discovery, and it's
Yeah, I'm so excited.
right. I know it's fun. It's fun, and fun is a word that there's lots of things associated with it.
I love fun. Humor is one of the biggest tools I use because so much of what I think you and I both deal with is so heavy because I know you use humor a lot too. It can be like heavy and like strangling almost. And it's like humor just kind of like lightens the weight, loosens it a little bit, gives some space for it to go a little bit, to give yourself a little bit distance from you to it. Is humor does that. And so does fun.
Yeah, I agree. And it's like this is all very heavy and hard, and you and I both never sweep that stuff under the rug. And it's like there's also space for fun and humor and joy and happiness and all of these things, and they're very interwoven. And I think actually
Yeah.
like from a behavior, I know you've talked about this before too, and you use tools for this with people. Like when it comes to behavior change, how can you make it more fun for yourself? Very very simple and effective way for
Yeah.
behavior change.
There's all different ways to do it too, right? Like it's have fun. This life is too fucking short. We don't know anything. We don't know if we're gonna next. We don't know. Why not have fun?
Yeah. Why
Not
not
all
have
the
fun?
time.
I
All
love
the
it.
time, but a lot of the time. Yeah. I love you. I'm so
Thank
proud
you.
of you for doing this.
I know. I am this was really, really fun. Speaking of which,
Yeah.
thank you for being the first guest. And I also want to shout out you where you just mentioned like having courageous conversations. And that is it's like the first official episode, right, of your new podcast.
Is it? Yeah, I think yes, it is. Yeah.
Yeah. So I'm gonna plug Lauren and well, you plug it. Tell people
Yeah,
about your
sure.
new podcast and then where they can find you.
In your first episode, you said something that I laughed very hard at that I was like, yeah, totally. You were like, why does the world need another podcast? I was like, whoo, feel that. Cause I was always like, I don't know, I'm never going to do a podcast. But a friend of mine, Devin, and I started a podcast called The Foul Mouthed Yogis. We're both yoga teachers, yoga being asana, which is like the physical practice of yoga. Yoga is actually life. Um, the physical practice is one small part of yoga. And so we're also very foul mouthed. We love cussing. It's our favorite thing. And we love reality TV. And so we relate so much of life and like courageous conversations back to, first of all, humor and then reality too. If you ever come to one of my yoga class, I will regularly do it around a theme based on Love Island or like Bravo, one of the Bravo shows. Because why the fuck not? Like we are not precious about anything other than love and connection. And so yeah, so find us on Spotify and Apple and Amazon. We're the Foul Mouthed Yogis. And I think we released another one, and we have another one coming out tomorrow where we interviewed these amazing women from Wilmington, North Carolina. Oh my God, Meryl, you would love them. Called Honeyhead Films. And they are up to creating art and also opportunities for women and people who are not represented in the film industry to be in roles that 7% of directors are women. And they are up to changing that statistic. They're fucking amazing. You can also check out there's movies streaming on Amazon Prime. It's called A Song for Imogene. I'm in a hysterical, weird way an associate producer or something on that. I don't know what I'm called. I know.
Oh my God.
Yeah. So yeah. So a lot of cool interviews, a lot of talking about like life's shit, like how to trust yourself, how to love yourself, how to be happy. And it doesn't take a $15,000 coach. It really doesn't, but it does take, giving yourself time and experiences to dig in.
Yes. Love it. And yeah, if you're listening to this podcast and you love it, I know for sure that you will love
Yeah.
the Foul Mouth Yogis.
It's amazing that we like launched at the, like right around the same time. I love it.
I know. Me too. That is like I know there's an abundance of podcasts and there's also room for more, especially ones like ours. So
Yeah. Yeah.
yeah.
But yeah, the world is just, Shit's so weird anyway. Why the fuck not? You know?
Yeah. And on that note, because I completely agree. On that
Well,
note, I hope that you guys enjoyed this episode. I had a blast. I know Lauren had a blast because I've been
me
staring at
too.
her smiling the whole time. So,
Thanks for
and,
having me, Merrily Pants.
oh, yes.
She's
And
still in my phone as that, just so everybody knows.
Merely Pants with our
20
power
years
brain.
later.
Yes. Well, maybe we'll do a future episode and share more stories of our youth. So we'll give
I
people
don't think we
time to get
should.
ready for
I
it.
do not think we should.
All right. If you think we should, then leave a comment. And if you got something out of this episode, please share. If you haven't subscribed, I don't know why you haven't. And I will send Lauren after you to pressure you into leaving a good review.
Leave a 5-star review. Don't leave a review if it's not going to be 5 stars. Don't make me.
All right. Have a good one, and we'll see you next time.